the Right for Education slot this morning on Sky Alpha HD Radio to the Stars. And this morning we're going to be having a look at an article by Josephine Bellman. And we're going to be talking about climate refugees. A climate refugee is a person that has been displaced from their home due to the effects of climate change on their environment. Changes in the environment force people to leave because it can cause wars and hunger as a result of lack of resources. There are currently 64 million climate refugees around the world, and by 2050, the number may increase to between 25 million and 1 billion. Now, let's have a look at climate refugees in Africa. Several countries in Africa are suffering from the effects of climate change. Many people are being forcibly displaced due to changes in the environmental conditions. These are four main reasons, why environmental changes have a large impact on migration in Africa. Firstly, Africa is a continent and is very dependent on natural resources. Secondly, it has poor infrastructure to protect itself from climate disasters. For example, flood defenses designed to prevent water overflowing a riverbank are rare and ineffective. Thirdly, businesses, government and public services in Africa have not adapted to climate change. And finally, high levels of poverty makes it harder for people to recover from climate disasters. Now let's talk about the Sahel Belt. The Sahel Belt is a useful example of how environmental change can lead to devastating effects. People in some countries in the Sahel Belt like northern Niger, Chad, Niger and Mali are being forcibly displaced due to higher temperatures and catastrophic events. For example, in 2012, more than 6 million people in northeastern Nigeria were forced to become refugees due to floods, and more than 500,000 were displaced in Chad. The main environmental cause of the displacement is the lower water levels in Lake Chad. Lake Chad has shrunk by 90% since the 1960s. The dramatic level of water reduction means that 7 million people are currently food insecure. These people don't receive enough nutrition because fishing and farming are dependent on water levels. Since most of the population is dependent on agriculture, it is easy to understand how the environmental destruction impacts communities. Many climate refugees also come from Somaliland. Frequent droughts have meant that people can no longer make a living on agriculture, such as farming goats, sheep, camels, or growing crops such as maize, sorghum, and beans. These people are forced from their homes due to lack of certainty on growing seasons, extreme weather events, and a lack of water. And these changes all happen due to climate change. After Cyclone Sugar in May of 2018 and a poor rainy season in 2018 and 2019, Nazra Ishmael, director of a Somali NGO group, said, "We were caught by surprise how quickly this drought has returned. The time for people to recover have been halved and has been continuing to decrease every single season. Ultimately, it's climate crisis." And recognition of the crisis. The term climate refugee is rarely seen. Climate change needs to be recognized as a cause of forced migration. With the number of migrants expected to increase in the future, it is important to understand their situation and do something about it. And like I said, this was an article by Josephine Bellman on the Right for Education slot this morning on Sky Alpha HD Radio to the Stars. And be sure to listen to the Right for Education slot on Thursday morning right here on the Alpha Breakfast on Sky Alpha HD Radio to the Stars.